What do you think is the biggest challenge that these young people, these foster care, independent of what's happened, but I turn 18 and now I've got to, because I think that's one of the statistics, right? You turn 18 and you have to be out of a group home. Um, what is the biggest hurdle that they need to overcome to get on their path to independence, right? Because that's ultimately what.
Yeah, I think the biggest one, honestly, is stability. Whether that's stability with your environment, stability with a job, stability with a school, stability with people in your life. The vast majority of the time, when you're in care, your entire life is constantly revolving and rotating, and there aren't many constants in your life. So, trying to or when you turn 18, trying to find those constants when you are finally in control of your own life and trying to find that stability is one of the biggest obstacles to overcome.
Gosh. So when we've talked about employment, right? If you don't have a car, it's hard to get to where you need to be. Um, can we talk a little bit about that event that you had last August? That I think it's August, the expo.
Yes.
That was my first opportunity volunteering and actually interacting with the youth. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. These kids coming through 13, right? What's the
13
age?
to 25, yes.
13 to 25, all in foster care. And what was your purpose in starting that event?
So honestly, even before Maddie's movement was a thing, it was a vision for Maddie that she had placed on my heart. And knowing that, like what Caitlin just said, without stability, how do we find independence? How do we, if we don't have housing and food, who cares about financial budgeting or credit cards?
Right.
Like, we can't get to that point unless we secure some stability and community around ourselves. So the Pathways to Employment, it's a career readiness expo. So we wanted to design it to be able to bring exposure. And Caitlin and I have had a lot of conversations like how can you envision living in a home if you've never been in a home? Right? If we don't see it, we can't visualize it. And unfortunately, a lot of our teens and young adults that have went through foster care, like Caitlin has moved over 50 times while she was in care. And
Caitlin, what age did you start in foster care, if I can ask you that?
So I entered the system when I was 3 and for the first time, and I was in and out of care till I turned 18.
Wow. So 50, yeah. God bless you.
And so the lack of exposure, that's one of the biggest gaps. So we wanted to say there's this whole world out there.
Right.
There's all these careers out there. Let's first expose you to the careers. So that's how the expo was born. And so we have our career pathfinders, which are paralegals. What is a paralegal, right? What is a path to get there?
Right.
Maybe you're a plumber. What is the path to get there? So we want to bring exposure of different careers and then education opportunities of how to get there. And then it's really our mission in action. So like you volunteered with our great kids to build resumes, to practice interviews, get their
Yes.
headshots, get outfits. So it's setting them up for success along with having speakers, several speakers to showcase and share. We've had some people that are successful business owners now, but they've aged out of care to
Right.
show like you can do this.
I can't remember her name, but your guest speaker, your featured speaker
Kim.
oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like just a phenomenal story of
Yes.
not just, but financial success. I think a lot of kids too who grow up in this system, it's hard for them to see not living paycheck to paycheck or not being able
Exactly.
to make ends meet. And so her story was just phenomenal.
It
And
was.
the level of success that she's had.
Absolutely. And she's advocating all across the state for change for our kids. And so the Pathways to Employment Expo is really bringing all of our communities together, our kids, our volunteers, our partners. And what I didn't know after our very first one was it's debunking a lot of myths. Because when we say foster kids, many times people are thinking they're bad, they're on drugs, they're this, they're that,
Right.
without seeking to understand the why. And we say, Caitlin didn't have a choice at 3 to go into care.
Right.
She had no choice. So what we hear now from our community of volunteers and partners are like, oh my gosh, the kids are so great. They're so polite. They want to help.
Yes.
And I think that's the first step, is engaging our communities, bringing that awareness. And for our kids, it's exposing them to different careers and different career paths. And we're going to walk alongside you to get there.
I had started out in the resume making, which was very fun, and you guys had already prepped them because
Yes.
they were coming in with resumes. And then there was an immediate urgency for interviewing. I said, I'll go, get in there. And I just started out with, I don't know if you know this about me, but I started my career, I was in education. I was an educator, and I started in the inner city. So a lot of the kids that I had are living lives that you're speaking about now. In and out, parents, for one reason or another would lose custody of them for either a short time or permanently. And so, and I was teaching at the time 5th grade. And one of the first things I taught them was how to shake a hand, how to look people in their eyes. And so during the interview process there, I was talking, and there was this young man, and he was so just like, had a beam about him. And he says he's going to be a rapper. And I'm like, oh, he actually had a really cute voice, I got to tell you. And I was like, look at you. You could do anything you want, honey, but you got to shake a hand first. Make sure you're shaking hands. So that whole, just being there and seeing how many people showed up from the community to support those youth, and to see how, just what you're saying, they were there because they wanted the opportunity, and they wanted to hear and I think sometimes you're right. A lot of people think foster care, they don't, delinquents or something, and so that whole event I just thought was, and I told my husband, I'm like, next year you have to come. And gosh, Stephen Rideout was there, and I didn't know he was going there. We're
Okay.
Rotarians together. He goes, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? We got to get more for Maddie's movement. I was like, yes, we got to raise money. And thank God we were able to get you over there at the Wine and Whiskey. That
Wonderful.
was fun. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one organization. The other thing that I heard you do, and I think it's on Maddie's birthday, is a prom.
Yes.
Can you talk about that? Have you been to the prom?
Yes, actually, the last year was the first prom, and it was my first time going to prom.
Yes. What was that like for you?
So for me, my prom happened during COVID, so there wasn't a
Right.
lot going on. And, prom is a little bit of an expensive event. So even if it had been going on, it would have been a little bit hard to go. So being able to get fully dressed up and go to an event and see my friends and hang out and dance and have fun was a blast. I didn't realize it was so much fun to dance.
Yeah.
It was fun. We had a limo out front, and we had a red carpet. I think it was actually purple carpet
yeah.
to
Yes.
branded for Maddie's movement. But the young adults were riding around in the limo in the parking lot and paparazzi style as they got out.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of our volunteers emceeing Katie and Shelly as they were walking out of the limo. And it was fun. We were all dancing. We had a DJ. It was a Paris theme. And actually, the young adults were part of the committee to plan. So they all voted on the theme, and we set up, and then we celebrated Maddie's birthday, her 24th birthday. It was really
Yes.
nice.
Are you going to continue that event, you think?
Well, yes, but Caitlin had a great idea, so we're going to do it every 2 years, right?
Oh, fantastic.
And why did you suggest that?
Well, there's sorry.
No, you're good.
So prom being a big event, with so many people aging out every year, and with how big of an event that prom is, it makes sense logistically to have it every 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And planning wise, having young adults that have recently aged out and wanting to get them engaged as well in these big celebrations, getting them involved and engaged, and them getting involved and engaged for fun events helps them get involved and engaged for some of the life skilled events as well.
Excellent.
She had a great point that prom isn't every year for everyone.
Right.
So I thought that was a great idea.
All right, Effie, one of the things that you have in place for a way for the community to get involved is this advocacy program. I would love for you to talk about the purpose of that program and at what points different people could support. So what are some needs, but I'll let you speak to that.
Thank you for bringing that up. So our advocate program we just launched last year, and the goal is that is to create community around each one of our young adults. So it's a spin on the mentorship program, and that is the goal, is to bring in advocates that focus on finance, that can help our young adults find a job, that can help them with their resume, that can take them out networking if they want to start a business. Caitlin's our very first entrepreneur in Madi's movement, so we helped her start her art business. So it's building community like you and I have, Cassie, right?
Right.
We have community. We go out and network, and that's the goal.
Right.
So it's an extension of Madi's movement to really surround each young adult with a community and organically build those relationships so they turn into lifelong connections.
That's great. So I attended the event that you had over at the library. What was it, like speed dating or something?
Yeah, speed networking.
Speed networking. And that was a great concept. I thought it was fantastic. I did, as I was sitting in between other people, I started thinking, well, don't ask the same question that they, because you can kind of hear or then I would be like, ooh, I want to hear more about what he has to say about that. But that was fantastic. How did you generate volunteers for that? So, and what's the commitment from, let's say, from an adult business person who's wanting to get in and participate in that? What does that look like? And yeah.
So we don't have like a 2-year commitment, 10 hours a month. We are having connection nights every month. So this week we're having a connection night, bringing our advocates, our young adults together, people that want to become advocates, so to kind of come and see and feel it.
Right.
And that builds organic relationships. So out of that is our young adults will connect with advocates. So for instance, we had Denisha that was looking for a job, and a couple of advocates were helping her prepare. Wait, what's the job? Let's practice interviewing. How do you follow up in that? Some of our young adults just need help. How do I even find a job? Or hey, can you come to my baseball game? Trevor and Adam connected, and he's going out to his baseball game. Nobody's there for him. So our goal is to help them secure education and employment, but it's also to build community. Right. So having fun, because when we have fun, we build stronger relationships. So we had a lot of volunteers that wanted to help, very blessed with that. And we knew in order to help more Caitlins and those 600 kids, we needed advocates.
How many advocates do you have currently?
So we just launched our first pilot, so we have 21 advocates right now.
Yes. Okay. Out of how many kids or young
We
adults?
have about
really
a
young
couple
adults.
hundred, yes, a couple hundred young adults.